So welcome to episode 44 of Relentless Talk Radio. I'm really excited about today's episode because, number one, the topic seems like a topic we've covered recently, change, but this one's different. This is called turning on a dime. So we're going to talk about how being agile is really a good idea. But later on in the show, in the first health and fitness episode, I'm going to talk with Kelly Cameron Garfonia, and she is a life coach. We're going to talk about a couple of interesting things, and you'll have to tune in later to find out what those things are about having a better life and how to manage change and deal with toxic relationships. And then I'm talking with the artist team, Catherine and Jason Hugger. We've known each other for about 10 years now here in the Valley, and I'm super excited to talk with them together. Jason's an artist, and Catherine is his amazing promoter wife. The two of them are really taking the town by storm. They're doing some really cool things, and I'm interested in talking with them about how they've leveraged live video, but also some of the events they have coming up in November. So the whole idea of change, because you guys know, if you've been watching, I've been going through this massive change, and I've moved twice this year, okay? So the idea of moving twice in a year brings up a lot of stuff about change for me. But today what happened was I had two guests that were lined up to come on today, and one of them ended up changing her business focus, so she no longer was a fit for the show at this time. I put her on my waiting list for next year. And the other one had a life event. And so, things happened, and they weren't able to make the show. So I had to make some changes last minute, and it got me thinking about being able to change on a dime. So those of you who know me know that I have a master's in administration, and my concentration is in organizational behavior. So when I was working on my master's degree at St. Michael's College in Burlington, Vermont, in Colchester actually for the colleges, but I was working in Burlington, Vermont for an organization called IDX Systems Software, which is now GE Healthcare. It had been bought out. It was a locally owned company that was bought and grew to great success in Burlington, and they were a Six Sigma organization. And so it was a really great opportunity for me to be in grad school and learning about organizational development, but actually to be the administrator or the head administrator of the leadership department at IDX. And so the idea of being an agile organization was something that really appealed to me from a corporate perspective. But I realized today that I've become my own agile organization. And so what does that mean? So today I had, something change. Now, if I were working for NBC or CBS or, another radio station where I had to go through the proper protocol to ask who was supposed to come on the show, and then I had an administrative assistant that I had to go, try to pull her away from whatever she was working on. And then I had to, get the copy approved and blah, 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 right? Then I had to find out if those people could actually make it to the studio. So one of the things that I did this year was, rather than shoot Relentless Talk Radio at a radio station, I made a decision to shoot Relentless Talk Radio on Facebook Live. And one of the reasons why was because I realized that I needed to be more agile. So today I was able to make a change with my guests because everything I do happens online. But if I had expected Kelly and Jason and Catherine to come down to Central Phoenix or some other radio station location to visit with me, then I wouldn't have been able to make the change that quickly. Now, the other things that make an organization agile is having an abundance of resources. So over the past 10 years, I've spent literally every waking moment networking and getting to know people. And I was talking to Doc yesterday about it. I've been just collecting nuts. For 10 years here in Phoenix, I've just been collecting nuts. And before that, it was 10 years in Vermont, where I was just collecting nuts. Now, I would meet people and I'd say, wow, that's interesting what you do. I don't know when I'm going to need you or how I can refer you, but I'm just going to put you in my little cheeks and just store you away for a rainy day, because I know there's going to be at some point or another, but I will be able to use you or support you. And so I've been creating huge resources. To me, there's no lack. I have about 30,000 people in my network, kid you not. And so when I have someone not show up, I don't spend a lot of time fretting about that person's life circumstances, or maybe if that person sometimes doesn't do the right thing, I just go on and get to the next thing, right? And so I've created an abundance of resources by creating a huge network as a solopreneur, but as a solo polypreneur, okay? Because I have lots of different things that I'm doing. You guys all know that. So the other thing was about having responsibility and authority. So I know that all of you entrepreneurs out there can relate to this, that I do well in a corporate environment when I have a good leader. Okay, when I have a confident leader that's capable of leading. I don't do so well when I'm in an organization where I don't have the best leader. So I knew for myself that I needed to be empowered to be in control, and this was ups and there's downs to that. It means I have all of the responsibility and all of the risk, right? As an entrepreneur, my dad used to say, you know, if you get fired from your job at the big corporation, they don't take your house. When you're an entrepreneur, you can lose everything, and you can lose things you don't even have yet. So there's a downside to being in control and having all the responsibility. The downside is you have all the risk, but the upside is that you have all the power. So I was empowered today to go do what I needed to do and to reach out to my network and make a change in a dime. And so the other one was about rapid decision making and learning. So those of you who watch me know that I use an application called BeLive to shoot these interviews, and it changed last week. Or 2 weeks ago. They literally, I tested it on Monday, and on Tuesday, the platform was completely different. And so one of the signs of a good leader, and, you know, I'm not saying necessarily that I'm a good leader, but this is true, that one of the signs of a good leader, a good entrepreneur, is that they're able to learn on the fly. You know, that as an entrepreneur, you literally are sometimes learning as you're doing. And I just accept that. You know, it was funny when I was 23 and managing an organization in the Bronx that helped people with AIDS. And then when I was, 30 and I was coming out of grad school, and 36 or so was when I was coming out of grad school, and working for an organization that didn't train me appropriately, I was really caught up in having to have all of the answers so that I would never get caught with my pants down. Because it really was about embarrassment, but also about letting that client down. As an entrepreneur, I've learned that you literally can't have all the answers anymore. There's two things. One, it's impossible. But secondly, in today's day and age, things are changing so quickly that you literally could learn something and know it inside and out tomorrow, and the next day it changes. So being able to learn on a dime as you turn on a dime is something that is really important to be an agile organization. And as a solopreneur, I'm as agile as it gets. I am not the Titanic. I'm a canoe. You know, if I need to turn around, I literally can just jump out of the canoe, turn the canoe around, jump in, and go a completely different direction. I'm not the Titanic, and I've done that by design. And the last thing, the last two things is having a passion. So I have a passion, and I really have been distilling that down during this time of change. And what my passion is to lift up and encourage others to be their best. So whether I'm approaching my life from a health and fitness perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective, as a philanthropist, as an artist, everything I do is about lifting people up and helping them to achieve their best and to discover their best, right? Because in order to achieve your best, you have to discover it. I don't think that most of us don't even know what we're going to be when we grow up. And so my biggest thing is just sharing my process, and maybe that might spark something in you that helps you discover that maybe you're good at something, or you should be good at something. You might want to try being good at something. And so that's really my passion. Everything that I do is sharing authentically so I can help you to have that kind of epiphany, because people did that for me. And the last thing that they talked about with Agile, that I've learned about Agile organizations, is that they embrace technology. So again, Relentless Talk Radio, being on Facebook, being shot with BeLive, going to YouTube, from YouTube to podcasts. The podcast this year, I have about 150 podcasts that I need to load. I'm hiring an admin, and hopefully, let's hope that it's by first quarter that I have all of the videos that I've shot over the past 2-3 years will be going to podcast. So there's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I'm going to go get Kelly, and we're going to talk about toxic relationships, and we're going to talk about how she's managed change and how she's changed in the dime. And she has some new areas that she's focused on with women and LGBT youth. So we're going to go get her right now, and then after that will be the huggers. So come on back to Relentless Talk Radio in a couple minutes, and I'll go get those guys. Thanks a lot, everybody.